Hi, I'm Sarah, and in this video I'm going to be giving you a brief overview of the endocrine function of the pituitary gland, which I am just drawing now. Because I'm going to do a quick one, I'm not going to talk about the posterior pituitary, but I'm going to talk about the anterior pituitary gland. So up the top here is the hypothalamus, and then the little bunchy structure that we have in the kind of triangle is called the optic chiasm. And then the big bulge at the back is the posterior pituitary, which I'll label on here. And then the massive bulge at the front is the anterior pituitary. And this is just a schematic, I might add, although it does look a bit like this. The pinched in bit before they get bulgy is called the infundibulum. And I will talk to you about the different types of cells that we find in the anterior pituitary. There are 5 different cells, principally, that are glandular in nature, and these are the ones that produce hormones in response to the certain types of hormones produced in the hypothalamus. So, like I said, this is just going to be an overview. I'm not going to talk about the end functions of each of the different hormones that are produced by the organs that are being targeted by the pituitary, but just about the different cells and hormones produced by the pituitary. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the cell type in the anterior pituitary is the somatotroph, and this is stimulated by the hormone produced by the hypothalamus, growth hormone releasing hormone, and that triggers the somatotroph to produce human growth hormone. And human growth hormone will then travel in the circulation and target organs such as the liver, muscles and bone, all of which produce insulin-like growth factor. And this stimulates growth, protein synthesis, tissue repair, and increasing blood glucose, and things like that. So you can see already that's a kind of 3-step process. So if you start with the growth hormone releasing hormone, stimulating the somatotrophs to produce the second hormone in this pathway, human growth hormone, and then insulin-like growth factor. So the second one I'm going to talk about is thyroid releasing hormone produced by the hypothalamus, and that stimulates the thyrotrophs in the anterior pituitary to produce the thyroid stimulating hormone. And no prizes for guessing what this does. It stimulates the thyroid, which is the big gland, well, not that big, reasonable sized gland found in the neck, and that's responsible for producing thyroid hormones such as T3 and T4, which have a direct influence on our metabolism. So similar to before, 3-step process, and all of these end hormones, such as the thyroid hormones, will have a feedback loop which basically indicates to the hypothalamus and the pituitary how much levels are floating in the blood, and that can determine the function following that to make it level. So the next one we're going to talk about is gonadotrophic releasing hormone, and this stimulates the gonadotrophs in the pituitary to produce 2 hormones this time. Firstly, follicle stimulating hormone. This has different effects in men and women, as you might expect. In women, it stimulates the development of the eggs in that first stage of the menstrual cycle before ovulation. This is a pretty shoddy drawing of a uterus and some ovaries. Oh god, dreading what comes next. Okay, here we go. Now this is how it affects men. It causes production of sperm. That's supposed to be balls and a sperm. You'll have to bear with. So the second hormone produced by the gonadotrophs is luteinizing hormone, and this again has different effects in men and women, namely to do with estrogen and progesterone. Without going into too much detail, I think one of the most important features is the fact that luteinizing hormone, a massive surge of it, triggers ovulation in women's menstrual cycles. So the fourth hypothalamic hormone to talk about is prolactin releasing hormone. I hope you can read those letters. And this stimulates the lactotrophs in the anterior pituitary to produce prolactin. And the main thing to think about with prolactin is that it triggers the breast to produce milk. And there are other things, but like I said, this is just an overview video. I don't want to bombard you, so just remember that little basic. Right, so where are we? We've gone through 4. We've got one more cell type to produce, to talk about, and this is the corticotroph, which is stimulated by corticotrophic releasing hormone, causing that gland to produce 2 hormones again. Firstly, ACTH, which stands for adrenocorticotrophic hormone, and this stimulates the adrenal cortex. Oh God, how am I going to draw that in this small space? Let's have a bash. Oh, wrong colour. So it stimulates the adrenal cortex to produce glucocorticoids, such as cortisol is the main one we think of, and they're involved in the fight or flight response. Cortisol, that's supposed to be a kidney with an adrenal gland and a ureter. We'll have to deal with that. So the last type of hormone produced by the corticotroph is MSH, or melanocyte stimulating hormone, and the function of this is actually largely unknown. So there you have it. That is a summary, and I'll do the posterior pituitary separate, but that's simpler.
Subscribe to Soton Brain Hub for more videos to help explain the mysteries of the brain.